Congratulations to the Tuck 09s, our 109th class. And special thanks to all of our graduates, families, and loved ones for their support of these fine women and men. As was true for all of our previous classes, you 255 have so many fond memories, so much shared learning, and so many personal bonds that we actually can feel it in the air. It's always that way on this special weekend in June in our lovely valley in New Hampshire. As you depart, your home for the last 2 years, let me tell you what you can expect of us and what we will expect of you for the many decades to come. And this is based on what we know about all of our 109-year history with Tuck alumni. Expect that we will reach out to you and that we want you to reach out to us, and there will be an answer. We will put you in touch with professors, career services, the alumni network, and all the rest. They will be here for you as they were during the program. They'll be here for you, and that will never change. You have a marker here that you can cash in at any time. Just shout out from anywhere. Expect to stay closely in touch with those Tuckies you are closest to now. Your classmates are as near to family as is possible. Your core Tuck identity. But expect us to help you grow that inner circle and to expand it to encompass the full Tuck network over the years. When you 255 are added in, we now have over 8,500 Tuck alumni. There is no more supportive alumni group anywhere. Expect us to call on you to be involved with the program here on campus and around the globe. Not long from now, we expect you to see you back here as visiting executives, as mentors, as participants in our courses, as volunteers of all sorts, and advisors to our centers, as members of our boards. When Tuck comes to your region, come out and join us. Create your own events and clubs wherever you live, and we'll give you the support and resources you need. And this is what you can expect from those of us who are responsible for the stewardship of this gem of a business school. We will keep driving it to higher and higher levels of excellence. We will continue to judge our success in terms of the educational value we give our students. We will continue to lead the world in giving our students direct and intense access to great faculty. And we'll never stop emphasizing the holistic residential quality of Tuck, the rigor, the teamwork, the integrity, the ownership everyone feels here for this great MBA program. Look once more at the white columns behind me. You know that those symbols of Tuck are indelible, as are 1,000 other images and memories that each of you has in your own special place. That first study group in Fall A of 2007, the lunch lines in Pepsi, the thrill when you were first called on an AGM, or was that a chill? The wall that you may have hit in capital markets, and the wow that you uttered when you first looked out over the deck in Rather. The camaraderie you felt at those picnics on the ground at Sachem with a cold beer in your hand and the tiny Tuckies running free and safe. Those memories and so many more will never fade, but it is a sum of all the parts, what some call the Tuck experience, that will crescendo when you walk up here in a few minutes. To the cheers of your friends and family, lock on to that feeling that comes only once in a lifetime. When those cheers are only memories, we want you back here as often as you want to come. Certainly at 5 years, when hundreds of Tuckies will return for their reunions. Don't miss that. At that time, you will be on a steep learning curve, building on your Tuck foundation and your own experiences, and you'll be honing your managerial skills and entrepreneurial skills. At the 10-year mark, you will have clarified the industry and the kind of organization you want to lead for the long run, and still you'll be building on this education with more responsibility than ever. And for the fullness of your careers, you'll be looked on for integrity, knowledge, wisdom, and that special brand of Tuck leadership. For 109 years, Tuck has stood for those virtues, and I know that you will enhance that record greatly. It's going to be quite a journey of accomplishment for each of you, and we at Tuck will be cheering you on. And we fully expect that Tuck will remain an important part of your lives, and you will play an increasingly important role in keeping Tuck at the very top. Best wishes and Godspeed. Robert Lane has served as chairman and chief executive officer of Deere Company since August of 2000. Following an earlier career in global banking, he joined John Deere in 1982, initially managing various operations within the worldwide construction equipment division, and later serving as president and chief operating officer of Deere Credit Incorporated. In 1992, he joined the worldwide agricultural equipment division, where as senior vice president, he directed equipment operations in Latin America, Australia, and East Asia. Elected chief financial officer in 1996, he subsequently moved to Germany, where as managing director, he led Deere's agricultural equipment operations in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, India, and the nations of the former Soviet Union. He returned to the United States as president of the worldwide agricultural equipment division, and thereafter was elected president and chief operating officer of Deere Company. He also serves as a director of General Electric Company and Verizon Communications. He's a trustee of the University of Chicago, an honorary director of the Lincoln Park Zoo, and a national director of the Lyric Opera of Chicago. He was born in Washington, D.C., graduated with high honors from Wheaton College, and earned an MBA from the University of Chicago. He and his wife, Patricia, have 3 adult children and reside in Moline, Illinois. I present to you Bob Lane.
Thank you, Dean Danos. Good afternoon, overseers, trustees, distinguished faculty, family members, partners, importantly partners, and friends. To the Tuck class of 2009, congratulations on this impressive milestone in your life. You can be and should be proud of the accomplishments of these past years, even as we all recognize that this is not the easiest year to be graduating. Now, to start, please allow me to be presumptuous. Please allow me to speak on behalf of some people who have not authorized me to speak for them. So, speaking on behalf of the 2 billion very poor people of the world, speaking on behalf of the middle class in China, India, Brazil, Eastern Europe, and Nigeria, and speaking on behalf of the very tiny 5% of the world's population that lives in the United States and is relatively well off. On behalf of all these people, I say thank you. Thank you to you for dedicating yourselves to become business leaders. Thank you for studying at a prestigious school like Tuck. Thank you for the effort you have given at Tuck to advance group learning and teamwork skills, the focus you have put on leadership development, and on a broad global mindset. So why, ladies and gentlemen, do all of these people express such gratitude to you? Why? Because as a result of your growing competence, as a result of your potential for exceptional and uncommon leadership, there is a higher probability that humans around the world, human beings, will flourish. Standards of living worldwide will go up, and the blessings of life and health can be shared more widely and deeply around the globe. So, how wonderful that you have been rigorously training yourselves to help spread opportunity and to fight poverty. Now, some may say, does that man know he's talking to an MBA class? Does he know he's talking to MBAs at the prestigious Tuck School? Does he think this is a social service school? Does he realize that some think this is a school for greed? Sadly, some of earlier generations of MBAs, not necessarily from Tuck, have gotten off track from the great potential to serve humankind well. But because of your already impressive business experience, supplemented now with a top-notch Tuck training, you are very well positioned to help make free, open markets more healthy and rigorously competitive. And when you do, such markets are an extraordinarily effective tool. In fact, the most effective tool found by human beings to organize production and distribution for the bringing of prosperity to the planet. You are trained to make this work, and work well. No wonder all of these people say to you, thank you. Now, most of you will probably not dedicate your primary energies directly into setting sound public policy, which is, of course, a necessary condition to unleash the power of healthy, competitive markets. Markets need rules. Markets require a transparent, level playing field where all can participate. But although necessary, sound public policy is not sufficient. There is the necessary condition of practitioners, competent, energized, and ethical executives. That's you. So how do you fit in? How do the skills, training, brains, heart, and desire and ethics that you have, how do they work as you emerge as great leaders, true practitioners of enlightened business leadership? Now, on average, you are about 30 years old. Just think about what happened to the global economy since 1980, about the time the average one of you was born. Even taking into account the dismal effect of the current Great Recession, and assuming the dreadful contractions continue, say, through 2010, the growth per capita income for the world will be about 40% over this 30-year period of time. Now that's terrific. Even under the weight of the current downturn, the net growth in world GDP in this 30-year time period, the time of your average lives, would likely amount to 120%, or about 2.7% per year for 30 years. In your lifetime, markets have been unleashed, and the world has benefited immensely. Not perfectly, not evenly, but it has been fabulous for billions of people. Now, your stage, your time, say the next 40 years, 2010 to 2050. This is your sweet spot of executive leadership. This will be a unique time in the history of the world, your time. Why? Likely, the next period of time, your 40 years, will never be repeated again. Because on your stage, your time will likely be the final surge in the great population explosion of the world. In this period of time, there will probably be added about 2.5 billion people, most likely, leveling off. Most demographers think at about 9 billion. About the end of this period of time, that world population growth is almost certainly likely to slow or stop. Now, adding another 2.5 billion people born with the prospects of dramatically improving their lives, and adding this to the top of the 2 billion people alive today who already can aspire to improve their lives, creates enormous opportunity for you. This is your time, the time of unique opportunity. I hope, given this opportunity, that many of you will aspire to be great CEOs. CEOs of large and small firms, CEOs of old, established, and new emerging firms. Now, given that aspiration, may I ask you to let me be presumptuous once again? May I offer 3 suggestions? Suggestions to you as you reignite your careers, as you look to this 40-year period of likely unprecedented opportunity. Please consider doing 3 things. 3 things every day for 40 years. Please celebrate, please embrace, and please relish. Celebrate the high calling of business leadership. Embrace the rich irony of business success, and relish the priceless rewards of business integrity. So first, celebrate the high calling of business leadership. Why high calling? Because you will serve people. You have the potential to serve your future customers, your future employees in remarkable, unforgettable ways, ways never before available or imagined. Of course, those graduating from Dartmouth with a medical degree, for example, will serve people in another vitally important way. Others, for example, will serve in the important way of teaching, for example. But for you, your service can be unique in great business performance. Your service will be embedded service. Although, along with the delivery of great products or services over many years, will also come potentially, as a consequence, great financial rewards, your service will not be primarily in giving your money away, as important as this will be, or giving your time, valuable time, to worthy organizations, also important. Your embedded service, your high calling, will be the important work of innovating, creating, and delivering great products and services and new business models to humankind. That will be your embedded service. Performing to the highest standards so that your customers will recommend to everyone they know that in spite of intense competition, they should buy your product or service. So satisfied and delighted, they will not want in any way to believe they've been tricked, but convinced that they are paying you for great value. Value that endures. The same can hopefully be said about your future employees, whom under your leadership can blossom with a job of which they can be proud and in which they can grow. For centuries, for millennium, many people in Africa, Asia, South Africa, and indeed throughout the world have not had the full blessings of jobs, of health, of a full life. But in the next 40 years, you may help discover the commercial and the technical means and ways to bring products and services that change and enrich billions of people's lives. This is a high calling. Celebrate it. Celebrate it every day. Secondly, embrace the rich irony of business success. What is this irony? Well, if we measure success over many years, evidenced by decades of persistent performance, a good yardstick, then we will have real evidence to testify to your success. Apparent success, short-term, unproven success, appearances that collapse, this is not success. Do not seek it or claim it. So the irony is you cannot, as a company or as an individual, directly serve yourself to create this kind of long-term success. It is impossible. You cannot create great long success for a great company or for yourself in the long run if it's all about me. Now, in the short run, this can be done, all for yourself. Of course, truly competitive markets, healthy markets, require you to win, to do the heavy lifting of competing, to outperform, to prevail. In business, to do so, to earn the gold medal, the green jacket, you must prevail. This requires derivative success. It's a byproduct of serving others at the highest level. And this, by the way, is a good derivative. Now, only others, customers, employees, shareholders, etc., including the environment, can be well served over the long run on a sustained basis before you can declare yourself a truly successful executive. Now, this irony is not new, of course. Great thinkers and religious leaders over millennium have noted this irony. From Confucius to Jesus, Mohammed and Gandhi, the irony has been recognized. Jesus said, for example, "Seek the kingdom of God first, and everything else will be added." As business leaders, some have forgotten this irony, attempted to directly serve themselves, making it all about me. And true success has eluded them. Don't miss out. Embrace the rich irony of business success. And thirdly and finally, relish the priceless rewards of business integrity. The rewards are indeed priceless. Be 100% transparent, aiming never to do anything that you will not be 100% proud of, to be fully discussed on the front page of the New York Times, the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, the Asahi Shimbun, the India Times, and the China Daily News, and your home local newspaper, whether online or in print. Everything out front for everyone to see. At John Deere, we aim for no tricks, no smoke, no mirrors, right down the middle of transparency. At Deere, we compete with each other by out-cooperating each other. It is evidence when you can proudly repeat transactions year after year with customers, suppliers, and employees because you know that they reflect the highest standards under the full light of day. Jeff Immelt, the chairman and CEO of GE and a graduate of the college here at Dartmouth and on the board, has wisely told his employees, There is nothing worth losing your integrity over. Nothing. Relish the rich rewards of knowing both the benefits to your business itself and to your great personal satisfaction of knowing that without a doubt you have aspired to deliver the highest in integrity in both spirit and in letter. Give attribution to your colleagues, as there are few original ideas and few great projects done alone by one person. For example, some of the ideas here in this talk are distilled from Nobel laureate Gary Becker and from the book Saving Capitalism from the Capitalists. And I stand on the shoulders of thousands who have preceded me at Deere. Times are tough now, yet few people over the next 40 years have the preparation to be such great practitioners of the business disciplines that you have learned. No one can take this great gift from you. No one can take this preparation from you. You have earned it. So as you commence the next phase of your journey, competing in demanding, healthy, and open markets that make your work challenging and not easy, please do consider celebrating your high calling, embracing the rich irony, and relishing the priceless rewards of business leadership, success, and integrity. I will end not being presumptuous, but indeed convinced that you have the potential to bring great good to the world and to be rewarded for it in many ways. As a result, as a consequence, yes, as a derivative of your great business performance over many years, humans around the world will flourish, and so will you. How wonderful. Thank you for listening.
Bob, thank you for those words of wisdom. When I first moved to the Midwest, I saw these great, cool caps. And it was John Deere caps. And we're into caps at Tuck, but I think John Deere has the coolest caps, I have to say. There's something. Let's come back up. We have a present for you.
Thank you. Look great in that cap. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now we come to the conferring of hoods on the MBA candidates. Associate Dean Slaughter will read the names of the candidates. The chairman of our Tuck Board of Overseers, Bill Ackmeyer, will place the hoods over the candidates.
At this time, I would like to call forward each MBA degree recipient to receive his or her master hood. As I call your name, please step forward, and the chair of the Board of Overseers, Bill Ackmeyer, will drape the hood over your shoulders. There is no need to hold your applause until the end, so I invite everyone assembled here to applaud early and often. Andrew E. Irvin. Igor L. Macura. Michael James Adair. Nantara Agarwal. Urteza D. Ahmed. Sarah Whitmer Albert. Peter Wilson Albro. Alexander E. Armstrong. William B. All. Rick Bagby. Matthew Cushman Barber with high distinction. Dawn C. Barclay. Francisco Barua. Nathaniel R. Berner. Natalia Berry. Papri Bhattacharya. Lokesh Bidan. Julia Blank. Jennifer Blazajewski. Aaron Breslin. Andrew David Bunton with high distinction. Alex Allen Burgess. John Robert Burnett. Denitris Burns. Chago Calheros. Roseanne Charlotte Carpenter with distinction. Christopher M. Carrillo. Emily Finnan Carroll. Rafael A. Castellanos Lopez Torres. Stephen Cheng. Jongwook Choi. Ilju Chong. Charles Sita. Jonathan Clabeau. Patrick A. Cody. Rafael Lessa Coelho. Jill Cohen. Alan Coker with high distinction. Brian J. Cormican. Anna Karina Corzo. Michelle Coyle. Jeffrey Charles Crane. Nikolai Christia. William Andrew Cronin. Patrick Robert Cunningham. Kelly Cutler. Jia Dai. Bradford J. Davis. Diego de Ovando Ugarte. Philip Anthony DeGisi. Saba Dehim. Sergio Diaz. Natesh Dixit. Jacob Stephen Dixon. Luciano Dilgetta. Daniel Patrick Donahue. David Donnelly. Thomas McCain Dougherty with distinction. Elizabeth Jane Dutton. David Thomas Earp. Andrea Eaton with distinction. Jonathan P. Edwards with distinction. Kirsten Eganus. Tatiana Yurtseva. Khalida Fazli. Gonzalo Fernandez Mendieta. Joseph D. Finelli. Ryan Patrick Fitzgerald. Kate Frambach. Hadley Elizabeth Fuller. Daniel Scott Galemba. Curtis Stephen Gasser. Kirsten Barron Gaudino. Sitara Gobad Olgiati. Michael Joseph Giordano. Andrea Giudici. John Goldsmith. Andreas Gomez. Sasha Gonzalez. Ezra Vogel Gordon. George Neal Gordon. Leah Gorin. Joshua Gould. Catherine Griggs. Justin Griggs with high distinction. Jessica Gunter. Lei Guo. Tian Tian Guo. Rena Nicole Harper. Christopher C. Harris. Thomas W. Harris, Jr. Yi Chen Harvey. Aaron Hankler. Patricia Henderson. Kevin Michael Hinckley. Chi Lung Shao. Neil Hunt. Adeswa Igala. Peter Iwancio. Kevin Johnson. Sydney Homewood Johnston. Sarah Kabasinski. Nick Cannon with highest distinction. Ramesh Karpaga Vinayagam. Daniel J. Katz with distinction. Joshua Robert Keith. Paul T. Kelly. Fong Kang. Meg Ellen Kibbe. Denny Kim. Kibum Kim. Gaku Kobayashi. Raehoon Ko. Otto Crucius with distinction. Kalian Kuchimanchi. Francesco Latorre. Samuel Thomas Landman. Cynthia Denise Landraby. Bradley Lang. Eunice Latinist. Louisa Yang Ying Lee. Robert Andrew Levy. Corinne Hamblin Lewis. Haishan Lin. Jessica C. Liu. Maylin Yu. Tao Lu. Catherine York Laurie. Elizabeth Atwood Lorig. Kristen Elizabeth Lorero. Pablo Luzardi. Chongshi Ma. Matia Machado. Vivek Joseph Manipadam. Adam Lewis Manton. Taryn Martin. Sarah B. Master. Shantanu Mathur. Darius Matthews. Ryan Patrick McGovern. Charles Joseph McGraw. Frederick Lamar McPherson. Lindsay Allison McPherson. Sheldon Lawrence Menezes. Sarah Ann Merriman. Aaron Mickelson Mahali. Tak Mikoshiba. Jonathan Cameron Moraz. Eric Morales. Eric Stratton Morse. Melinda Eva Meraz. Miguel Munoz Marin. Mahesh Mararka with distinction. Desmond Nation. Anne Hartman Naughton. Katrin Naumann. Lucas Nelson. Caroline Cotman Newcomb. Wei Min Ni. Marcus Norton. Kathleen Rita O'Brien. William Olgiati. Rama Rao Oragunti. Siddhart Panda. Sujan Pundarum. Udan Anurag Pandit. Chong Ho Park. Huishun Taejung Park. Mira Park. Michael Lee Parker Jr. Robert Pascal. John Pearson. Edward Jose Pena. Mark Enrique Perez. Orléans Pichon. Jushan Frank Q. Shivam Rajdev. Pandia Constantine Rally. Emily Allison Ratcliffe. Vivek Raval. Samir Razuk Philo. Jessica Redding. Viswa Reddy with high distinction. Bradley Regier. Kate Ryan Reiling. Ludwig Quincy Raymer. Derek Riesenberg. Nicholas Riolo with distinction. Fabian Rivera Brun. Axel Hobin. Lisa Anderson Rockefeller. Daniel Rodriguez. Rachel Roth. Daniel B. Rao. Milagros Sainez Gonzalez. Anish Sani. Umashankar Gangaduran Sandila. Andrea Santos Brito. Madia Sharatz. Hannes Schill with distinction. Paul Schned. Papa Sechiyama. Brenda Sen. Shafali Sudhir Shah. Jonggil Shin. Andrew Simmons. Tegu Dominguez Situmorang. Brian Smith. Charles Lister Smith. Cameron J. Solberg with highest distinction. Giacomo Sonino. Nikhil Srikanth. Jana Swedberg. Takuya Takahashi. Manish Tangri. Gabrielle Tassin. Chelsea Toke. Ann R. Thompson. Nicholas Thorndike. Everett Tillmans. Rob Tillmans. Charles Anthony Toy III. Philip Sierras. Matthew Stephen Vamvakis. Bart Van Nuffel. Colin Van Ostern O'Loughlin. Anya Veckenstedt. Scott Michael Waterstred. Rachel Webster. Daniel J. Weinstein. Kristen Wormuth with high distinction. Samuel Edens Wilson. Theodore Dolan Wilson. Ella Witcher. Lauren Dara Wolf. Grace Ann S. Wood. Mary Woodka. Nakia Jewett Wright. Jason Weiniger. Karen Yu. Ji Woon Eric Yu. Chaerin Yoon. Allison Zeilinger. Carolyn Zern. Dennis Jinhua Zhang. Katarina Zuber. Please join me in congratulating the class of 2009. Good to go. Edward Tuck Scholars are those students who have demonstrated outstanding academic accomplishment during their 2 years at Tuck. Scholars are designated by the faculty at the end of the second year. I will read the names of the Tuck Scholars and ask that they come forward to receive their certificates and be recognized. Please hold your applause until the names of all 2009 Tuck Scholars have been read. Recipients, after receiving your certificate, please line up in front of the podium for a photo. The Edward Tuck Scholars for 2009 are William B. All, Matthew Cushman Barber, Andrew David Bunton, Roseanne Charlotte Carpenter, Jonathan Clabeau, Alan Coker, Jeffrey Charles Crane, Thomas McCain Dougherty, David Thomas Earp, Andrea Eaton, Jonathan P. Edwards, Andrew E. Irvin, Daniel Scott Galemba, Justin Griggs, Neil Hunt, Nick Cannon, Daniel J. Katz, Otto Crucius, Margot Lalonde, Tao Lu, Darren Wilson Lowe, Sheldon Lawrence Menezes, Aaron Mickelson Mahali, Melinda Eva Miraz, Mahesh Murarka, Marcus Norton, Emily Allison Ratcliffe, Viswa Reddy, Nicholas Riolo, Umashankar Gangadharan Sandila, Hannes Schill, Andrew Simmons, Cameron J. Solberg, Jonna Swedberg, Charles Anthony Toy III, Anya Veckenstedt, Kristen Wormuth, Jason Weiniger, Ji-woon Eric Yu. At this time, we award the prizes honoring those graduates who have distinguished themselves through excellence in the classroom and service to the Tuck community. The Arnold F. Adams Jr. Award for Excellence in Entrepreneurship. Financial support for the startup of a new business is awarded to an individual or a team of second-year students which, through its project in entrepreneurship and other actions, meets high professional standards and demonstrates outstanding potential for beginning a significant new enterprise. Please hold your applause until the names of all the Adams Award recipients have been read. Recipients, after receiving your certificate, please line up in front of the podium for a photo. This year, the recipients of the Adams Award are Kelly L. Cutler, Neil W. Hunt, Tao Liu, Ryan Patrick McGovern, Kate Ryan Reiling, Hannes Schill, Jonna Swedberg, Chelsea Toke, Nakia Jewett Wright. The James A. and Sabra M. Hamilton Award in Administration. A desk set is awarded to that member of the second-year class who, through personal qualifications and accomplishments in courses in the fields of business policy and organizational behavior, shows the greatest attributes of a capable administrator. The recipient of the Hamilton Award is Scott Michael Waterstred. The Lieutenant Walter A. Jacobs Memorial Award. A substantial collection of books of the recipient's choice is awarded during the first year to a student who has demonstrated intellectual ability and curiosity, sound judgment in academic work and activities outside the classroom, and personal habits and conduct which inspire confidence and enthusiasm. The recipient of the Jacobs Award is Cameron J. Solberg. The Charles I. Leibovitz Memorial Award. This is a cash award given to the second-year student who has, during the first year at Tuck, made an outstanding contribution to the daily life of the school. The recipient of the Leibovitz Award is Mary Woodka. the Lillian and Charles Leach Prize for Excellence in Finance. This is a cash prize awarded to a graduating student who has shown excellence in the academic area of finance. The recipient of the Leach Award is Cameron J. Solberg. The Deere Saunders Award. This cash award is presented to a graduating student who, through both personal qualities and accomplishments in management communication courses, demonstrates outstanding ability to communicate effectively as a manager. The recipient of the Saunders Award is Margot Lalonde. And unfortunately, Margot is not able to attend today's investiture ceremony. The Tuck Centennial Student Award. This award is given to a first-year and a second-year student who exemplify the spirit and character of the Tuck School. Chosen by their classmates, recipients embody outstanding leadership, selflessness in everyday actions, extensive involvement in the Tuck and Upper Valley communities, and a firm commitment to the traditions and principles of the school. The second-year recipient of the Centennial Award is Andrew David Bunton. The Julia Stell Award. A certificate is given to those students who have made a substantial contribution to the Tuck community through both their leadership in school programs and functions and for their extraordinary efforts to help fellow students, especially in scholastic efforts. This prestigious award is named for the wife of Edward Tuck and co-founder of the Tuck School, Julia Stell. Please hold your applause until all the recipients' names are called. Recipients should line up for a photograph. The 2009 recipients of the Julia Stell Award are Peter Wilson Albro, Patrick Robert Cunningham, Sergio Diaz, Andrea Eaton, Andrew E. Irvin, Yi-Chen Harvey, Neil W. Hunt, Margot Lalonde, Shantanu Mathur, Mahesh Murarka, Daniel B. Rao, Umashankar Gangadharan Sandila, Papa Sechiyama, Brian P. Smith, Cameron J. Solberg, Mary Woodcup, and please join me once more in congratulating the class of 2009.
I'm pleased to introduce the class president of 2009, Andy Irving. Andy grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and graduated from Penn State in 2004 with a bachelor's in arts degree in economics. Prior to Tuck, Andy worked as an actuary at Liberty Mutual in Boston, and last summer he interned as a consultant to the Parthenon Group. At Tuck, Andy's primary focus outside of academics has been his role as president of the class. He has also been very active helping children in the Upper Valley. He has mentored 2 children at an elementary school in White River Junction. He has served on the board of directors at a local nonprofit named the Children's Center of the Upper Valley, and he has coached 2 local soccer teams. As a demonstration of his prowess on the playing field, he's also been a proud member of Tuck soccer and tripod hockey. After graduation, Andy plans to return to the Parthenon Group in Boston. Andy Irving.
Well, thank you very much, Dean Danos. Good afternoon, class of 2009, friends, family, members of the faculty, and overseers. For all the graduates out there, if you can remember back to about 2 years ago, when we first arrived here at Tuck, we gathered into Cook Auditorium, much like we just did, and listened to the Director of Admissions, Donna Clark, tell us about some of the amazing talents that our class had brought to Tuck. This impressive list of accomplishments ranged from starting new companies and competing in the Olympics to helping reduce the spread of AIDS in Africa, just to name a few. And over the past 2 years, we have had the privilege of conversing, learning, competing, and celebrating with this amazingly talented group of individuals. And through this interaction, we also had the opportunity to learn about some of the other talents of our fellow classmates. So today I'd like to walk through a short list of notable achievements of our class, some of which made Donna's list, but some of which only made mine. So among all of us in the class of 2009, we have, first and foremost, 4 individuals who are not only earning their MBA this weekend, but also their degree in medicine. It's a truly amazing feat. We have former members of the US and Canadian national crew teams, a semi-professional cyclist who has raced with Lance Armstrong. We have a former Olympic speed skater, and one individual who I believe was attempting to set the land speed record for sledding at night, but unfortunately, the land won in that case. We have an individual who released an East Indian pop album, and an amazingly impressive Elvis impersonator who was so kind to share his talents with us a couple weeks ago. We have a trained expert in the Afro-Brazilian art of capoeira, and one individual who is studying the art of spontaneous bridge jumping. We have an open water swimmer who swam from Alcatraz to the other side of San Francisco Bay, a fantastic team of hockey players, and of course I'm referring to tripod hockey, and not those so-called A-team players. And finally, we have a large number of very talented skiers, and one not-so-talented one whose name will remain anonymous. But all jokes aside, I've never met a group of people who are more talented, creative, generous, or as fun as all of you. And it's truly an honor to be graduating with all of you today. So with that, I'd like to call up Eric Morales, the chair of the class gift committee, to present the class gift.
Dean Danos, on behalf of the class of 2009, our class gift this year were flags representing the many nationalities represented at the Tuck School of Business in our student class. Here's a Tuck flag. This Tuck flag is a symbol of the universalism and broad diversity at Tuck. Thanks.
On behalf of all the future generations that will enjoy these flags as we proudly display them, thank you all. Thank you to the committee and all of you for supporting this, and we will be thinking of you when we fly them. Thank you.
Now, I am proud to introduce the student speaker for this afternoon. Igor Macura was born in Knin, Croatia. He graduated from the University of Belgrade, Serbia in 2004 with a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting. Before coming to Tuck, Igor worked for the National Bank of Serbia in the area of pension fund supervision. There he took part in writing legislation for the pension fund industry. After graduation, Igor is returning to the National Bank of Serbia, which was kind enough to sponsor his MBA. At Tuck, Igor performed at the Frosty Jester, the school's traditional stand-up comedy show, gave 2 presentations in the Country Chat series, and made occasional appearances at soccer practices. He is very proud of his role as Aristotle in the play organized by the Chinese community for the Chinese New Year, but regrets the fact that he forgot to take off his wristwatch to make the character more persuasive. According to Igor, his photo is the scariest one in both yearbooks in which it has appeared. He claims that his parents did a great job, but the photographer blew it. But he finds comfort in the fact that the photo made the adjacent classmates, Matthias and Vivek, look like rock stars. Please join me in welcoming Igor Macura.
Trustees of Dartmouth College, overseers of the Tuck School of Business, Dean Danos, Dean Hansen, Dean Yeager, Dean Lubrano, Dean Slaughter, Dean Paquette. I hope I listed all the deans. If you're a Tuck dean and I didn't mention you, I'll give you your money back. Okay? Mr. Lane, honored guests, distinguished faculty, dear friends and family, dear class. Either this is a very special occasion or we stopped downloading our fashion updates. Today we're saying goodbye to our student lives and going back to the real world for good. But then again, this is not the first time we're making that promise. We made it the last time we were graduating. So we won't get too emotional. Some of us might cry, but that's just going through the emotions, you know. Instead, let's take a cold, analytical look back at our 2 years at Tuck. The courses, the dorms, the atmosphere, study groups, faculty, everything. The courses are usually called strategic something or something for managers. They take place in underground facilities, some of which require the usage of mining helmets for lighting. Professors are unaware of the existence of courses other than the one they teach, so they assign a workload tailored to an 80-hour work week, bringing the total workload to 320 hours per week, or about 46 hours a day. Back when we were first years, the dorms were called Buchanan and Whittemore. Whittemore was also known as the dorm with an elevator. But I lived in Buchanan, whose full name is probably the Buchanan Hall for Managers. It taught me a lot about competition. There were twice as many people as there were showers. So an epic battle took place every morning. Waking up early was hard enough, but it wasn't enough to get a shower. You had to get up early as well. And my competitor, Kibam, was a very tough nut to crack. When I realized that he used the sound of my alarm clock to get up and take a shower, I was crushed. I was forced to withdraw from the market and take evening showers to avoid hygienic bankruptcy and leaving Kibon with the monopoly. A great thing about TUC is its community feeling. The way it works is the following. You meet interesting people and they don't like you and ignore you, but then they have nowhere to go but the same place as you go. So they eventually give in and you become friends. At least that's my experience. I know each one of us has a fantasy team of classmates, and I'm no exception. I had a fabulous time touring North America with Tagu in an exercise of teamwork. While one slept, the other one drove, although the person behind the wheel occasionally multitasked. Maria gave me a lot of support, including cultural tips and gossip in Serbian. Conversations with Rama are amazing. His comments on just about any topic are well-informed, hilarious, and overall a great addition to your toolkit. Taku is another excellent team player. He does all the work assigned to the team, and then he apologizes for it. My fall study group, and let me say this again, my fall study group, not a false study group, produced a ton of spreadsheets, presentations, and write-ups, and 10 friendships. However, the group did go through some rough times, and you can't really blame it. It had me in it. But luckily, it also had Mira, Jessica, Rafa, and Josh. Mira offered the wisest contributions to our teamwork and the most brutal sarcasm to the team members. You had to love her for both, not to mention her amazing culinary skills. Jessica made sure the group didn't join the dark side of functionality. Her discipline translated into the group discipline, at least when she was around. Rafa was a conflict resolution expert. His calm attitude contains some of that wisdom from the Andes. Either that or he was just way more interested in what's going on with Alianza Lima than with our study group. It occurred to me more than once in study group meetings that he had a reflection of soccer highlights on his glasses. Rafa, the spreadsheets don't move that much. Josh knew how to effectively present the results of our group using primarily his pretty face and totally eloquent rhetoric. He also suggested the best messages that we would have written to professors in our presentations if only we hadn't feared retaliation. If you would like to see the rest of my fantasy team, please visit my website and pay a subscription fee. Our education was painful at moments, and sometimes even confusing. Maybe time will give us wisdom to integrate what we learned. And here's an example that may show that this is the case. Two of my favorite professors, Professors French and Howell, have different positions on diversification. Let me try to paraphrase these. Professor French says diversification is great. Professor Howell says diversification is for wimps. I used to think that these were conflicting statements, but then I realized they both mean diversification is great for wimps, but they just emphasize different aspects. Now, if you allow me, I have a few personal messages for our professors. Well, even if you don't allow me, because I have the microphone. Professors Powell, Chomsky, and Sundaram, I hereby pronounce you the winners of the Igor Macura Academic Excellence Award. Professor Bell, I'm sorry for calling your class a support group. I meant it as a compliment. Professor Hall, I confess that I've never read The Goal. I wanted to, but I stopped reading it when I realized it wasn't about soccer. If it's any consolation, I did learn what a bottleneck is, and I drink beer from a pint ever since. Rest assured that reading The Goal is high on my to-do list, right below visiting Arkansas. Many of us had an unfair advantage over the others during their MBA because they enjoyed the support of someone special. I would like to ask the partners of the class of 2009 to stand up and receive their well-deserved round of applause. Your effort was heroic, especially yours, Sitara. We can try to make forecasts about the value of our education. This school has seen off 108 generations of business people who became successful and happy, and that's an encouraging data set. We could argue that we are somehow different, which we are, just like every generation. We could argue that the times have changed, and they have, but that's what times do for a living. While writing this speech, there were some phrases I wanted to avoid at all costs. One of them is, the best 2 years of my life. If Doug proves to be the best 2 years of my life, I'll be very disappointed about my life. In fact, because I attended Tuck, I now expect much more from life than before. Dear classmates, our paths will cross all over the globe, and I'm looking forward to that. Until we meet again, I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do. I know you have all the other ingredients for success. By choosing me for this wonderful duty, you've given me an immense favor. I feel in such debt to you that I'm scared of even calculating my leverage. Thank you. And before I leave, I would like to announce our classmate Manish Tangri, who has some lyrics to share with us.
on this joyous occasion. I'm honored and thankful for this opportunity, the opportunity to share a song with you that embodies the Tuck spirit, the spirit that binds us all together into a strong network, the network that is going to be instrumental in helping us be successful going forward, times be good or bad, much like it has been for others who have preceded us. So here's a story of your average next-door Tucky. Let's call him Joe. He was driving down one evening in his beat-up Pontiac when an old lady flagged him down. Her Mercedes had a flat. He could see that she was frightened, standing out there in the snow, till he said, "I'm here to help you, ma'am. By the way, my name's Joe." She said, "I'm from St. Louis, and I'm only passing through. I must have seen 100 cars go by. This is awful nice of you." As he changed her tire and closed her trunk and was about to go away, she said, "How much do I owe you?" Here's what he had to say: "You don't owe me a thing. I've been there too. Someone once helped me out just the way I'm helping you. If you really want to pay me back, this is what you do. Don't let the chain of love end with you." Well, a few miles down the road, the lady saw a small cafe. She went in to grab a bite to eat and then be on her way. But she couldn't help but notice how the waitress smiled so sweet, how she must have been 8 months along and dead on her feet. No, she didn't know her story, and she probably never will. When the waitress went to get her change from a $100 bill, the lady slipped right out the door and on a napkin left a note. There were tears in the waitress' eyes when she read what she wrote. "You don't owe me a thing. I've been there too. Someone once helped me out just the way I'm helping you. If you really want to pay me back, this is what you do. Don't let the chain of love end with you." When the waitress went home that night and climbed into bed, she was thinking about the money and what the lady's note had said. As her husband lay there sleeping, she whispered soft and low, "Everything's gonna be all right. I love you, Joe." Thank you very much.
And this time it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Stephen Powell, who will read the Edward Tuck letter.
Actually, I think I could sing it if... In the conduct of the school to which you have done my father's memory the honor of attaching his name, I trust that certain elementary but vital principles on which he greatly dwelt in his advice to young men, and if he were with us today, I'm sure he would have added young women, whether entering upon a professional or business career, may not be lost sight of in the variety of technical subjects of which the regular curriculum is composed. Briefly, these principles or maxims are: absolute devotion to the career which one selects and to the interests of one's superior officers or employers, the desire and determination to do more rather than less than one's required duties, perfect accuracy and promptness in all undertakings, and absence from one's vocabulary of the word forget, never to vary a hair's breadth from the truth, nor from the path of strictest honesty and honor, with perfect confidence in the wisdom of doing right as the surest means of achieving success. To the maxim that honesty is the best policy should be added another, that altruism is the highest and best form of egoism, as a principle of conduct to be followed by those who strive for success and happiness in public or business relations, as well as those of private life. From the letter of Mr. Edward Tuck to President Tucker, October 12, 1904.
Your investiture will conclude with the recession of the faculty and the graduates. As we conclude this ceremony, renewed congratulations to our students, class of 2009. I'd like to invite everyone to join the class, the faculty, and the administrators and staff, and our other guests to the Byrne Courtyard and to the Murdo Terrace for refreshments. Congratulations again.